Hello and welcome to the studio where we paint away the stress of everyday life here in South Wales, UK. Yes, we certainly do. Okay, so I'm going to be working on a piece of cardboard again today, and that's a 13 by 9. Or you can paint on any one you want. I got a lot of these little bits of cardboard hanging about, and I thought they're quite nice because I can sell these as well, which I do, and I can send them through the post and there's not going to be any damage. It's one of the reasons I do that, and they're all sealed, so there's not going to be any problems. So without further ado, let's have a look at the palette. It's really all day here. So stay with me, and after a quick introduction we're getting back into the studio. I need you. Woo! So you can see I've limited my palette today. I've just got some Prussian blue, some Mars black and white, just 3 colours, and I like showing beginners that you don't need a vast array of paints and brushes and things like that. All I'm trying to do here is to get you to paint. And if you go along and paint, and you can start producing some fantastic work. Now I've got some media mix. Basically what that does, it stops you underbinding of paint. In other words, if you put too much water to acrylic paint, over 40%, then the bonds of the paint are going to break down, and eventually over time it will flake or cause damage to the painting, and that's not what you want. So I've produced some of this media mix. There's several different things in there which stops that happening, so it means I can thin this down to as much as I want. Also I got a bit of flow improver by there and a little bit of retarder. Basically the flow improver helps the flow of paint, retarder retards the paint, so it stops my paint from drying out too much, as it will do on card anyway. I've got a wet palette. Underneath here is some just ordinary kitchen roll, there you go, which has been soaked, and then some parchment paper or greaseproof paper on the top. And what that does, it stops the paint from drying out from the base, because of acrylics evaporate. By being a moist palette, the moisture coming off that palette, because it is evaporating very, very slowly, keeps the paint from drying out. And if that does happen, even in the summertime, you'll find, or a hot environment, or you've got the heating on or something in the studio that is too hot, you'll find your paints will start to dry. I got a fine mist bottle there, which I just mist down the top. Would help if I put some water in it. Mist down the top of the paints just to stop the surface and drying out. And there you go. And that is that. So let's have a look at this painting that we're going to be doing today. So without further ado, I'm going to be doing some sort of a seascape today. The reason I've done that is because it's a foul old day out there today. We've had Storm Ciara coming in from the Atlantic, and it's caused some high winds and things like that. So I thought it'd be good if I did some sort of a seascape, and we put some rocks in, something like this. And when you're starting out, just have a quick idea of what you want your painting to look like. It doesn't have to be accurate, just a couple of little squiggles like that. You want to some sort of an horizon line if we're doing a seascape, but we want this horizon line to just be a little bit of a swell. So we don't want dead straight, because we want to try and emulate that swell that we get in the ocean or the sea or whatever you call it. And I thought we'd have some sort of a big breaker or something and just splashing down like that, and we'll have some rain coming in like this. There you go, have some rain coming in. So basically that's our seascape. There we go. Right, with that said, let's get some moisture on our brush. Always a good idea to moisten your brush down. It doesn't matter whether you use medium mix, retarder or flow improver. Just moisten your brush down like that. Just get that moisture into those bristles before we start. Let's get some white and the smallest amount of Prussian blue, and let's just see what that will give us. So there we are. We've got this blue sky, and I want this quite painterly today. I'm looking for some just brush strokes like this. I don't want it too smooth. I like the roughness of the paint, and I was looking at something. I'm going to mix some ultramarine blue, Prussian blue and some black together. And I'm just going to darken some of the sky up as it's wet there. I want it to look quite stormy. I don't want to go too dark too quick, but I want to get this storminess in there, like that. Maybe just a touch more white. Let's get over there. I tell you what I'll do. Let's make this quite dark over that side. There we go. And just mix it in, blended it in like this. And the idea behind these lessons is that if you're practicing, because this is all I try to show is practice paintings, and I will be doing some larger scale, more detailed paintings shortly, because there's something available to us on YouTube now called memberships, and I'm going to be looking into that and seeing if I can bring you some other types of work for you to have a go at. And I haven't looked into it too much yet. I just add in a bit of black, a bit of Prussian blue and a bit of white together, and I'm going to see if I can come up with something for you to do a little bit more advanced, so you can go from this then to a little bit more advanced work. Then I'm bringing you some really good finished paintings, some of the type of paintings that I paint. Let me show you what I mean. This is one that I might have showed you this before, but this is one that I'm halfway through at the moment. There you go. There's a lot more detail in there, a lot more skill level in there. And it takes a lot longer to do, so I'm going to be producing things like that shortly. So if you want to stay with me, then please stay along, and we will see what the future holds for us. There we go. So let's just put a bit of colour into the base. There we go. Just bringing in a little bit of white then, just to flick it up like that, because don't forget this is a really cold, wet, old type of day. I'm going to increase the brightness of this colour. I'm going to bring in that down then there like this. And this painting is inspired by a place called Puthcall. This is not far from where I live. I live not far off the coast, so this painting is inspired by that. Now I'm quite happy for you to carry on and paint this, and if you're happy with your result, then go ahead and sell it on a craft fair or something like that. Like, as I said, these are just study paintings. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little paintings like this that I do. There's, as I call them, study paintings, because I take these paintings on from this stage then onto a bigger canvas, and that's my process of painting basically, and that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. So when I'm in the studio, that's what I do. I'm just going to put a bit of shadow into this water now, like this, and the idea is to be loose. Being loose and as free as you possibly can with this type of style of painting, because there's many different styles of painting that you can do. So I'm going to get some black now onto a brush. I'm just using a number 20 brush. There you go. It's just using a size 20 brush. I'm not using anything more than that. I'm just going to put some black in, some really dark colour. Just to bring in maybe some rocks and stuff like this, because don't forget this is quite a dark, going to be quite a dark, miserable looking painting. There you go. Maybe some more rocks there like this, just going into the water. we'll be incorporating another brush in a second, just to put some details and stuff in. But these rocks are just everywhere, really, like this. And just block that in like that. That's what they call a block out. There you go, just a block out of colour. Let's just get a little bit of blue in there like that. I'm just putting a few little darker strokes. Let's get some more shadow in. Like that. Darken that up. Tell you what, let's put a nice rock there. And why not? Put a nice rock in there like that. Just poking his head out of that. Surf. There you go. Alright, am I happy with that so far? I think I might be. Yes. Well, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get a hairdryer on that, and the simple reason I do that is because it allows me to keep painting layer and layer and layer. Now you don't have to use a hairdryer. If you don't want to, you can just wait for it to dry. It takes about 15-20 minutes. But I tend to force dry it, which you can do. There's no harm in that as long as you're not too harsh with it, and that allows me to continue with the lesson. So now I've done that, I want to just grab myself a bit of kitchen roll. I'm going to continue using this size 20. I'm just giving that a rinse out in my little washing pot. I'm just going to get some white on my brush. I'm just going to mix that with a little bit of that Prussian blue and black and stuff. So it's not a perfect white then. Taking a little bit of excess off my brush like this. There you go. And I'm just looking at this now, and I'm going to put some light in like this, because this is quite in a distance, so if there is any waves over there, they're going to be quite close together, because waves, you'll notice in the distance waves can be quite close, and as they come forward they come wider apart like that, and that's what you want to try and achieve like this. And as I said, this is just a steady painting, so maybe we'll have a bit of spray going on there like that. There we are, and we're going to have something. We're going to have something there. So let's put that in now. Let's get some more white, because I haven't got enough paint on my brush, so I'm going to get a bit more white. I'm going to just chuck in some spray there like this. Not being too accurate, just want to get that. Might have hit a big rock or something. Getting a bit more darker type of colour on my brush, just getting some shadows in. Bit more of that dark colour. Don't forget there's a rock there, so we got to highlight that in a second. Get some Prussian blue and some black. I'm going to get some shadow just under there like this. get that all to blend in. Just using the side of the brush. If first you don't succeed, just keep trying and you will get there. Now to me that's still a little bit light, so I want to darken this up a bit more. It's a mighty big. Get a bit of light colour, mixing that in. What's that done? Let's get a bit of that dark colour then. I want some more shadow down here. Don't worry if you've painted over your rock like I've just done. We know it's there, we know where we've put that, so, and we might decide that we don't want that rock in there, but I've decided I'm going to keep it. But you might decide that you don't want that rock in there, so just get that flow of colour. There we are, like this. Let's get a little bit of dark colour, some shadows here and there. And just keep looking at the painting and thinking, yeah, I need to darken that a little bit there. Need some shadow in there, and keep looking at it and keep trying to develop that. Again, I'm going to dry that with a hairdryer. And one of my favourite tricks is to put a wash of colour. Now a wash is basically just a very, very thin coat of paint over the surface of your painting. And in this case, I'm just going to use some medium mix. As you can see, there's quite a lot of water there, some Prussian blue. And I'm just going to thin that down, which I can do because that's got all different types of resins and one thing and another in there. Please pop along to www.clive5art.co.uk and pick up some for yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to put a light colour of Prussian blue just over the whole painting, like this. Make sure that your painting is 100% dry for this method. Don't forget, I'm painting on cardboard, so it's quite absorbent, and you can do this anyway with card because card is super absorbent, and there's no problems with peeling or flaking or nothing like that. And again, we just get the hairdryer and dry that off and make sure it's 100% dry. What I'm going to do now is switch down to half-inch short flat. I'm just going to get some medium mix and a little bit of my titanium white, because what I want to try and do is I want to just put a little glow of white just shining through like this, like as if there's a little bit of a light on the horizon. There's a little bit of chance that maybe that sun will come out, or at least it'll stop raining. There you go. So a little bit of glow in that sky, like that. Dry your brush off, and then just lightly scrub that in. You've got a damp brush, even if you use a little bit of tissue paper, just scrubbing that along like that. Don't forget, we want that painterly look, that painterly effect. That could be a little bit of light just coming from behind that cloud which is zinging along there. Let's get a little bit of titanium white on our brush now, and just using little 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 like smiley marks really. And I just want to pick up a few hints on the waves where the light is just picking up those wavelets. There you go. Some splashes there. We'll have a look at that in a second. Could put some splashes in here. Rocks under there that we can't see, but we know they're there. There's no pattern to waves and on water really. Just put in a few little lines like this. Try not to destroy everything that you've done with those shadows and stuff underneath. And don't forget, this is just a study painting. It's nothing more and nothing less than just a study painting. So let's mix a bit of Prussian blue and black together. Let's mix some white to that. I want it like a grey blue type of colour, because what we want to do now is get this lovely colour, taking some paint off my brush, and I'm just gonna put in some highlights, just dragging this brush like you would with a palette knife type of thing. Just get in some light on these rocks like this. Don't forget, we want that dark colour, so I'm going to get some black now, and I'm going to intensify the shadows around where we put those highlights. It's hard to see where one rock starts and another one begins, but we know they're there, and as we sit back we can see that. Maybe just a few other darker areas just in here like this, just to give it a bit of a pushback. And we got this rock then, this a bit of Mars black. We got this rock that's sticking its little head out of that water, as we said. There, like that. I got a bit of this spray just come in around that rock like that. Maybe some spray just running down the rocks like this. You see, it's quite a dark looking, eerie painting. This could be a very dark day, or it could be just simply the fact that it's maybe twilight. You decide. It's your painting. You decide. So I'm getting some white paint, and now I'm just gonna put in some spray on this big. rocks there that you can't see, they've covered in the spray. There you go. Maybe that's just going. Let's get a bit of this colour. Okay, now a brush. Just darken that colour up a bit. I want to try and merge that into that. Darken in the shadows. There you go. I want to get a little bit more. I just see a little bit more. Let's just get a little bit of blue and white. There, like that. Don't forget, this is not a finished painting. Don't forget, this is not a finished painting, this is a study. This is how you learn. Practice all your little techniques and your brush strokes, and that's what it's about. It's not about finality. It's about a beginning. It's about a journey that you're creating on canvas or on board or something like that. This is about you. This is about your artistic journey. And that's what it's all about, is the growth of your journey in art is the important thing. That looks quite a stormy old seascape, so let's get that dry. And once more, let's get our size 20 brush, rinsing that out in some soap and some water, making sure it's nice and clean. Wiping the brush dry. Always tap the brush like that. Never pull too hard like that, because you're going to pull the bristles out. So always tap it dry, tap it dry, tap it dry. Now I've got some mixing white. Zinc mixing white. If I haven't got any of this, don't worry, because I'll show you how to do this in 1 second. Now, titanium white and zinc mixing white are two different things. There's a very, very translucent white, and there's a very, very, very opaque white. Now, for this method, you want a translucent white or a very, very thin opaque white, like titanium, this is where this comes in handy, because you shouldn't have to buy zinc mixing white if you can thin it with this. But I've got mixing white there, so I'm going to use this. And I'm going to thin this down like this. With that, anyway. There you go. And I use this to knock things back in a distance. But today, what I'm going to do is just put in, let's see if I can get that just a little bit thicker. Today, I'm just going to put some lines in like this. Let's just get a little bit of, I'm just going to get those little lines, very, very flicky lines. Don't do too many, just a few, just to show that maybe it's like that. You'll get this when you take pictures on a camera. It's just a frozen moment in time. It's like, oops, that's a bit thick. There we are. Don't worry about that. I'm not. Just flick it in. It's like a frozen moment in time. Get your finger in there if you want to. It's like it's a big storm. Big storm, just psh, and it's all rain flicking down like that. There you go. And then I'm not happy with that, but there we are. We'll just dry that off. Yeah, I'll just put a little bit of moisture on my brush, just lifted that off a bit. I'm just going to dry that out. And then we got a lovely seascape on a nice stormy day. a good way to practice all your brush strokes and your painting effects and things. Give it a try. Take this study painting on into a slightly larger canvas and put a lot more detail into it, and see the improvements that you can make from this study painting and turn out a wonderful piece of art that I'm sure, I know 100% that you were able to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson today. If so, please click the subscribe button. Over there are some of the lessons you might be interested in to have a look at. Down below there's a couple of links. Click on them. Don't forget to click the notification button, and because I upload every week on a Monday. So until next time, bye.